Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Megan Fulligar. I'm the Marketing Manager here at Microdesk. Welcome to today's webinar, Review Redefined, What's New in Bluebeam Review. A little bit about Microdesk. We're an Autodesk Gold, Oracle, and Google partner. We offer technology training and consulting solutions for the AEC industry. We have 12 offices nationwide and 90 consulting specialists and software developers. For over 10 years, Bluebeam Software has provided easy-to-use software solutions that maximize digital workflow in the AEC industry. From the very beginning of the design process right through project closeout, Bluebeam offers smart and simple tools to help you manage design and construction projects. Bluebeam's flagship project, Bluebeam Review, is the industry standard for PDF markups and editing. But it also pushes the limit for project communication, collaboration, mobility, and even cloud storage. It's an extremely versatile tool and can be used for everything from design review to takeoffs to punch lists and well beyond. So we're really pleased to have Chris Jerby here. He's an account specialist for Bluebeam. Chris spent 8 years in the construction world as a project manager, building custom homes, and still wishes he discovers Bluebeam Review before he left the industry. Now he lives vicariously through his customers, pretending to post RFIs without the need for a copier or a fax machine. So we're very happy to have Chris here. Just a couple of logistics before we begin. In order to maintain kind of a solid conversation and to minimize any background distractions, you're all on mute for the duration of the session. If you have any questions during the presentation, just type them into the question area of the webinar toolbar to the right of your screen. Chris is going to address as many questions as he can at the end of the presentation, but if we run out of time, we'll provide you with our contact information so you can follow up with us. And so now I turn it over to Chris.
Okay, thank you, Megan. I appreciate it. So we are going to spend the next half an hour or so basically covering all of the fantastic new features that we rolled out in Bluebeam Review 10. My assumption is that most of our attendees are fairly well versed in the Bluebeam basics, but I know that we are going to have some time for Q&A at the end. So if there are any other sort of more basic tools, the ability to customize the interface or customize markup tools, create custom tool sets, etc. If there's any of that stuff that would be more along the lines of sort of the basic navigation and interface stuff in Bluebeam Review, certainly feel free to ask me about that at the end, and we'll cover it. What I really want to do is spend our time together talking about the 5 major new tools in Bluebeam Review 10. The advances to our hyperlink tools in our links manager, the advances to our layers technology, which can be used independently and also part of our document comparison suite of tools. Our new spaces tool, which allows users to create predefined areas or zones, particularly useful for something like punch. I want to show off our new 3D PDF tools, both the ability to create and mark up 3D PDFs. And then I want to sort of talk about Studio, which is not a brand new tool, but Studio Projects is a whole new way to do things in terms of document storage and document management. So I do want to kind of cover some of that stuff as well. So let's just jump right into to the first of these tools, our links tool. And here we are in Bluebeam Review. Of course, this should look very familiar to you all. You'll notice here that I'm in the construction profile, and I've gone ahead and sort of built this thing out quite a bit. I've got an awful lot of tabs. Almost every tab that we have available is showing. So this is sort of a powerhouse profile. And you'll notice here with my File Access tab, and let me close out of this. With my File Access tab, I've got a whole bunch of files that I've pinned and categorized. For those of you that aren't used to doing this, I recommend it. Pinning frequently used files is great. It's right at your fingertips. And then the ability to actually categorize certain files is also really useful, especially if you wanted to bring together a variety of files from various folder locations and just bring them into a category here. So I'm going to go ahead and just start by pulling up a set of plans here. And you'll notice in this case what we've done, if I were to scroll to our page index here, our drawing index, you're going to notice that we've already started to create some hyperlinks here. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to start to make a dynamic project document, something that was going to be really easy to navigate, that we could set up beforehand and would save lots of time throughout the course of the project. And you'll notice here we've got a new links tab in Review 10. You'll notice here that it's broken down into two areas. An area for places, which basically allows you to create destinations, linked destinations. So you'll notice here that we've already got a couple of details that we've linked to, and I'll show you how to create that in a minute. But we also have a full list of all the hyperlinks in the document here in our hyperlinks area, which we could search, do a search for any given link, etc. So you'll notice here that we've got a whole bunch of these from this particular sheet that are jumping to the pages that we want them to jump to. So you'll notice here when I actually turn on the hyperlink tool, you're going to be able to see where those areas are. So we actually started this process here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how easy it is now that this has been created. I could jump to level 1, floor plan. And you'll notice it takes me right there. So again, this is just about making your documents much more navigable and easy to get through. But we also have a couple other tools that we've built out that can make this process even better. You'll notice we have a search tab here in Review. One of the new tools that we have is this visual search tool. So what I might want to also use the links tools for would be to jump from not just a page index to a floor plan, but also from a call out to a detail. And again, you could set all this up before your project got started to really make this process dynamic. So what I can do here is once I've clicked on my search tab, I can click on the visual search button and click on the get rectangle button, and it's going to turn my cursor into a crosshair, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and just define that space here, define the area that I wanted to search. And you'll notice I get a nice little preview here in my search tab. You'll also notice that I have the ability to search a variety of different areas. I can search the existing document, I can search this existing page, or this current page that I'm on, but I could also go ahead and search all open documents. I could search through an entire folder. So if I've got my project broken up so that each page is its own file, you could run through and you could store them all in a folder and have the search run through the entire folder for that particular graphic. In this case, in the interest of time, I'm just going to go ahead and run it on this page, and I'm going to click search, and it'll run through. You can notice here that it's powering through here, and it found the two locations here on this drawing that have that particular call out. So I'm going to go up to my tools here. I'm going to check all. Then I'm going to go to my check tool here, and I'm going to go ahead and hyperlink all of these results. And you'll notice here that when I'm going to create a brand new hyperlink, or when I hyperlink all, you're going to get this action dialog box. The action dialog box allows me to create various different types of links. So as we did before, I could jump to a page, as we were doing from the index page to the actual floor plans or elevations, etc. I could go to a specific snapshot view, which would be a portion of a page. I could hyperlink here to a website. I could have it open a file, so if I wanted to post an RFI and then have that link pop open the other document, the RFI document, I could do that as well. In this case, what I want to do is I actually want to create a place. And the reason we would create a place is because you may have a variety of hyperlinks pointing to a destination, and if that destination changes, you don't want to have to go back and independently change all of the links that were directed to that destination. So we can create a place, and when that place changes, all of the links will update with it. So you'll notice here, I've already got some places that I've created, but I want to create a brand new one. So I'm going to hit Create. And you'll notice that I have the ability to name it, and in this case I'm going to say this goes to my elevator detail, because I already know that. And I'm not going to jump to a page here. I'm going to do that snapshot view. I'm going to get the rectangle, and I know that this is on my last page, so I'm actually going to scroll out here. And I know that that's my elevator detail, so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly draw that around the detail. So you'll know that it loads the actual location, gives me the file name and the page, etc. So now I know I've created this brand new place. When I hit OK, you're going to notice that it loads in my New Places area. And if I jump back to my page 4 here, which is where those original callouts were found, you're going to notice that these are now hyperlinked, and when I click on them, it takes me right to the elevator detail. So again, using the hyperlinks tools, obviously you could use them for a wide variety of different things, but one of those ways is to be really creating easy to access project documentation where you can very quickly jump. No longer do you have to unfold your 400 sheet set and try to find detail on page 87 that's somewhere on a sheet of 40 different details. So that should make your life a lot easier. And again, you can use that for almost anything. If I were to jump back to I think back to page 4 again, I may actually already have some. I don't here actually, but I could, as I mentioned before, I could go ahead and post RFIs, link to specification sheets, whatever else I wanted to do using those hyperlink tools. So that's the new linking. Those are some of the new advances in our links tab, and so that's been a really useful tool now for project setup, etc. Another tool that we have really built out is our layers technology. You'll notice here that we've got a layers tab as well. That's new for Review 10. And the layers tab is great for a variety of different reasons. But let me first show you how it works in conjunction with our various document comparison tools. So you'll notice here that, and we've had both of these running for a little while now, but let me just jump through the two different document comparison options that we have. First is compare documents. And you'll notice here that I can access files, original and revision files, whatever I want to be able to compare. In this case, obviously, I've got them saved in a really accessible location. So let me go ahead and pop these open. And I'm not going to play around with this too much. There are some things that you can do to change the way that this works. But by default, what happens is Review wants to do basically a side-by-side comparison of the two documents. So you'll notice here that Review has gone ahead and split my screen for me, which I can do at any time using my split view buttons here. It's gone ahead and turned my sync button on, which will allow me to zoom into one area on one drawing and have the same area come to me on the other drawing. It's also gone ahead and created a red cloud over any differences that it sees graphically. And it's also gone ahead and assigned a subject line of difference so that I can have a connection between the actual markup itself, the cloud, as well as the line item in the markups list. So I can very quickly scroll through this to see all the things that have changed. So that's sort of the side-by-side comparison. Obviously it's a very useful tool for a quick look at a revision or against an original or whatever. But the other tool that we have for document comparison, it's called Overlay Pages. And Overlay Pages, again, has been around for a little while. But we've done something somewhat unique with this. And so I wanted to show that to you. Again, I'm going to want to go ahead and select the files that I want to add. And you'll notice here that what it does now is it adds layers. And you'll notice that in the first file that you add, it's going to want to color it red. And it's not going to give it any background because it's going to be a base layer. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and add another file. The second one, you'll notice by default, it turns green. And it does give it a blend mode here because what it wants to do is be able to lay it on top of the original base layer. Let me hit OK there. I'm going to add one more. This third bullet's in here. And again, this would turn blue. And it goes up to, I think, 8 different colors throughout the process. But basically, you should be getting the drift here. It's going to colorize these. And what's neat about this is when I hit OK, it's going to go ahead and it's going to lay those three files on top of one another. Any of the lines that are shared that haven't changed are going to darken. But any lines that are new or have been removed are going to be visible because they're going to be colorized. So you'll notice here I can actually scroll into this area here. I can take a look at all the original red drawings. They were here. It looks like they were removed at some point. Looks like they made one revision. They made them ADA compliant, added some junior suites. So you can sort of see the history of this particular drawing. And when I pop this out and turn on my Layers tab, you're going to see that I have the ability to control these layers. So this overlay pages is really run by our new layers technology, and we've really buffed it out. So now if I want to go back to my original file, I can see it that way. I can compare revision A to revision C, revision B to revision C, simply by toggling the layers on and off. I have full control over that. I can also go ahead and add layers from files or from pages directly from within my Layers tab. So if I wanted to go ahead and continue to build out maybe a historical record set, or if I wanted to kind of be slowly building my as-builds, I could use that tool for that as well. So that's kind of a cool way to do that. I can obviously delete layers. I can add parents and children layers. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can do here. You don't have to colorize the layers. There are many different things that you can do to control this. But again, it's a really nice way to be able to see all of the changes that are happening on a drawing throughout the entire project. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. It's a really handy tool and is really new for us. So what else did we want to talk about? We wanted to also talk about spaces. Spaces are a really cool tool because one of the things that we heard most from our customers, let me go ahead and just pop open a file here, was that they wanted to be able to create pre-existing zones or areas that would automatically capture any markups that were placed within those zones. We had lots of folks that were, for instance, doing a punch on a hospital or a larger building, and each floor was broken down into 5 or 6 areas, and they'd have zone A, zone B, zone C, and they wanted to punch it by zone, and they wanted to be able to put any of those punch tools and have them automatically work by area or by room. So we created this new Spaces tool, and you'll notice here that once again we've got a Spaces tab, and I can go ahead in here, excuse me, and add spaces. So if I just click on this space, you're going to notice once again my cursor turns into crosshairs, and I can simply click and drag. So we'll just say this is going to be zone A here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and choose this to be zone B. And now, actually, I'm going to pop into my punch profile that brings up all of my punch tools, which is handy. And let's just say that I've got some painting touch-ups that I want to put in here. I've got some painting touch-up in here, and in here I've got a bubble on the surface in this right above that tub. And I don't need to go through this whole process here. But I just kind of wanted to show how this works. If we go over here, when I pop open my markups list, what you're going to see here is not only do I have the information that I assign to the markup itself, which tells me what the actual comment is regarding the punch item, who placed it, what the status is, etc. But it also has given me now the zone that it falls into. So these were all placed in zone B. What I could also do is create subzones. So if I wanted to, for instance, at this point, start labeling the room numbers, I could do that either before we started the punch or even during or after the punch. So I could go back to my Spaces tab, add another space. And in this case, I'm just going to do a quick, and forgive me if these aren't particularly well done, but I'm going to call this 1240 because this is going to be room number. You'll notice that it automatically populates room 1240. And if I wanted to go in here, and if I go in order and do my next space as 1241, you'll notice that it automatically populates that next number in the sequence. So if you wanted to, you could very quickly kind of walk through that process. And again, you'll notice that it's going to start to give you the even more specific information. So this has been really handy for things like punch. A lot of our estimators like to use it so that they know, so that they can break down their estimates or their takeoffs by zone or region. So that's another thing that's new to review that has been seeing a lot of really positive feedback. Okay, so the next thing I want to jump into is our 3D tools. I assume that these are probably the most popular new tools because they're really brand new to the industry as a whole. We know that we've had the ability to create 3D PDFs. We know that we've had the ability to view and manipulate those 3D PDFs, but you've never been able to actually, never been able to do it directly from some of these native programs, bring them right into a PDF environment and then mark them up. So that's really new for us. And again, as with always, all things, let me jump back to my construction profile. You'll see here I have a 3D model tree tab. And there are a couple of different ways that you can create 3D PDFs. The first would be to use our plugins to just go ahead and actually create a 3D PDF. And that 3D PDF is going to take up the entire page. The other way to do it is to start a brand new blank drawing, and rather than create a 3D PDF, actually create a U3D file. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up a brand new document. And what happens when you create a U3D file is that it gets saved to a clipboard. Excuse me. It gets saved to a clipboard, and then you can pull it into a portion of your brand new file. So if I pop back over to my edit menu and click on 3D editor, when I click on it, again, it's going to turn this cursor into a crosshair, and I have the ability to pop this in. So let's just say I want to bring this in for half the page because I wanted to be able to make a note on the bottom part or whatever. Again, you'll notice that if I go to my clipboard or to an area where I've saved my U3D, in this case I've got this U3D waiting for me, I can go ahead and click on that file. I can then do a few different things here, change the background, the lighting scheme, etc. I'm just going to use the default properties for right now. When I click on OK, you're going to notice that it actually populates that window with a 3D, which is great, again, because if I wanted to go ahead and, for instance, add a text box or add some notes down here, I still have some room on the file to work with, which is really handy. But let's just focus on this right now. So, of course, now in Review 9, we allowed users to, we gave users the ability to start to view and manipulate 3Ds, but we didn't have the ability to actually start to mark it up. And this is where it starts to get really cool. I'm still convinced that our developers just used magic for this. I don't know how else they would have done it. But you'll notice here, you would approach marking up a 3D PDF in the same way that you would approach marking up a 2D PDF. You'd grab one of your base markup tools or any one of the tools in your tool sets, and you could go ahead and just click on the area that you wanted to mark up. Maybe I want to grab a call out here. Maybe this is an RFI. And I just want to say how far beyond the landing do these railings extend? And so you know I've gone ahead and made this markup here. I can change this around just like I would. And of course I could change the properties on this if I wanted to. But you'll notice here that as I start to make a markup, I get this little light blue X here. And when I click on this, what it does is it creates a markup indicator for me. So now I know, no matter where I am in the model, even if I flip it all the way around, that there's a markup here, that there's something, this little markup indicator is indicating that there's a markup. So when I click on it, it's going to pull me right back to that markup, the exact same view that I was at when I created the markup. Now, which is awesome. But it might get confusing if you've got 50 markups and 50 markup indicators. So again, popping back over to the 3D model tree, you'll notice here that I actually have a list of the various views that I've got. So what I might want to do here is just right-click and edit this so that I can have some nomenclature that better signifies what or more specifically signifies what that particular markup refers to. So this might be RFI 10, railings, something like that. I can hit OK, and you'll notice that that now changes to something that's a little bit more significant or easy to understand. And again, you could create a whole variety of different views jumping back and forth to see all the various markups or all the various views that you might have there that would or would not contain markups. And again, you'll notice here that the 3D model tree, you're going to notice that you're going to be able to pull all sorts of information directly from those native programs. You're going to be able to have control over elements, turning them on and off. You're going to, you have the ability to actually dissect the models in 3 different axes. The X and the Y and the Z are all controllable depending on the model that you're working with. So it's really, it's a whole new ball of wax here at Bluebeam Review. We are really expecting that people are going to want to use 3D PDFs, not just referentially, but to also actively engage in marking them up, and Review 10 now gives users the ability to do that. And the last thing I wanted to cover, and we're almost at 10:30 here, the last thing I wanted to cover is Bluebeam Studio. Again, kind of like 3D PDFs. It's not that it's brand new. It's just that it's been expanded now to really include some much more dynamic tools. So I wanted to just show you again how easy it is to create both a Bluebeam Studio project, a Bluebeam Studio session. For those of you that aren't that familiar with Bluebeam Studio is our cloud-based collaboration tool. What it does is it allows for 2 different things. Studio Projects allows users to store project files, and those files can be PDFs, but they can also be Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, native CAD drawings. You can store any types of files that you want in Bluebeam Studio Projects. Obviously, the only files that would open in Review would be PDFs, but you can store those documents there and access them from directly within Review. You can also go ahead and there's also a sort of a light document management component to it that allows you to check out and check in files. So you'll notice here that I've got one of my projects that I set up here. When I click on it, you'll notice that the interface changes a little bit here. I have a whole bunch of submittals going on for this particular project, and you'll notice that I've got a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet here that I could click on. I also have this submittal index, and when I open it up, you're going to notice that it has a lock on it. If I go ahead and click on this, I have the ability to check this file out so that it's protected, so that nobody else can be working on that file. So now it's checked in or checked out for me to be using. I have the ability then later on, once I'm done, to check it in. And you'll notice that it gives me the ability to add check-in comments. So you have that document control built right into Studio Projects. And I'm just going to go ahead and check that back in without any comments. But again, then it becomes part of your, goes back into your Studio Project folder where you can, where other users then can access that from wherever they are. So it's really an opportunity to have multiple remote project participants all accessing the same files, all participating in markup sessions from wherever they are, whether they're in an office next door to yours or if they're in China working as a consultant. You still have the ability to very quickly pull those over. Another neat thing about Bluebeam Projects, Studio Projects, is that I can very quickly right-click on any of these files and add them to a brand new session. So let's just say I wanted to go ahead and start a brand new session called Submittals Review. You'll notice here that I can go ahead and create a new session on the fly from directly within Studio Projects. You'll notice that it takes me right over to my Bluebeam Studio Sessions interface, and I can very quickly add attendees. So I'm going to go ahead and add a colleague of mine right now to have him participate in this. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And it's going to go ahead and deliver an invitation to him. And once he gets it, he'll be able to join the session from directly within his Outlook. And so it got to him quickly, and you'll notice that he just joined us. A couple of really cool things with Bluebeam Studio Sessions. I can actually hover over his attendee, name in the attendee list, and you'll notice there are some footprints here. So if I want to go ahead and click on those footprints, I can then watch what Aaron's doing, changes my cursor or his cursor to a, well, I'm not really sure how I would describe that. It looks like a sunflower. but I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just completely following Aaron. I know what documents are in the session. I know who's attending the session. I could actually go ahead and change my status to reviewing if I wanted to. And you'll notice here I can even add chats. Aaron, when can we expect this to be finalized? And you'll notice it even has a chat field here. So working together in real time, again, whether you're in the same building or across the world, is now totally available, and it's saving our customers a ton of time, whether it's for shop drawing reviews or submittals or RFIs or punch. The ability to actually get all the work done in a nonlinear fashion is saving tons of time for those users. So that's the sort of the last thing that I wanted to show you. I know that we're a little bit long already, so I hope that that's okay. But I think that kind of sums up where we're at right now with Bluebeam Review 10, some of the great new features that we've got in there, and I think it makes sense to just open it up now to Q&A. Let me hand you over the presenter. Okay,
all
there
right.
you go.
Thank you, Chris.
Of course.
Great. Great. At this point, we'll be accepting any questions you have. Just type them into the webinar toolbar under questions. I see we already have one. This one's actually for us. Will this webinar be available for viewing later? And the answer is yes. Actually, we post all of our webinars on our multimedia resources page on our website. So if you just go to www.microdesk.com and go to multimedia resources, you can see all of our webinars. We usually try to post them within a day or so of doing the live webinar. All right, and it looks like I have a couple more. Chris, what programs can you create 3D PDFs in?
The Bluebeam Review CAD plugins allow 3D PDF creation in Revit and Navisworks Manage and Navisworks Simulate.
Great. Can you also assign markup layers and layers from pages?
Yeah, so right, we didn't cover that in the new layers tools, and I apologize for that, but that's also available. So it's nice to be able to use the layers technology to actually create layers from pages, but you could also go ahead and create brand new markup layers. So if you wanted to, for instance, group a variety of markups together and be able to turn those on and off, you could do that as well by just simply creating new markup layers, which is also a button there in the layers tab. You can create a new markup layer and then just attach any and all of those markups that you want to attach to them to that layer.
Okay, great. If anyone has any questions that they come up with, feel free to reach out to us at webinars@microdesk.com, the address on the screen. And we'd be happy to get back to you and answer any other questions you might have. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending today's webinar on Bluebeam Review. Feel free, as always, to reach out to us at www.microdesk.com or give us a call, and we'd be happy to answer any of your software needs. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.